Now, most golfers warm up on the range, they hit a few putts, and then they head to the first tee. But today's video is going to be a tribute to one of the greatest players the game has ever known. It's also going to be a short game lesson that may completely change how you think about your chipping. Now, I've found that most golfers give very little thought to their chipping technique, even though it costs them more shots than any other part of their game. They miss contact, they miss distance, and then they miss direction. And every one of those mistakes adds strokes to the card, because under pressure, impact conditions, they break down. Now, this is going to be a two-part series devoted entirely to the art of chipping. In this video, I want to honor the greatest chipper I've ever personally known. In the second, I'm going to demonstrate his method exactly the way he taught it to me so you can try it yourself. So if you've ever felt you could be a better chipper, these two videos are made for you. Now, the man who created this method was born in 1908, and he stood 5'7". He weighed 130 pounds. And he drove the ball a whopping 230 yards. Now, by PGA Tour standards, he was considered very short off the tee. And yet he defeated some of the longest hitters in that whole era. And at his peak, he wasn't just competitive, he was dominant. In 1933, he led the PGA Tour in earnings, won 29 professional tournaments, including 8 PGA Tour events, and then he captured the PGA Championship twice when it was in match play. His name, Paul Runyon, and they called him Little Poison. Now, Runyon was regarded as having the finest short game of his generation, not because he relied on feel, but because he built a technique that controlled impact conditions better than anyone else. In fact, in 1934, he won the PGA Championship against long hitter Craig Wood. 1938, he won again, this time defeating Sam Snead 8-7. And that match became legendary. Snead was the longest, most powerful player of the era, a true Goliath. Runyan dismantled him with his short game.
And there it is, the $1,000 putt that brings Paul Runyon the PGA title for the second time in his golfing career.
Hi, I'm Sam Snead. In regards to Paul Runyon, he was known as Little Poison. Paul wasn't a big guy by any means. He didn't hit the ball very far, but oh, what a short game he had, second to none. I had the pleasure of playing Paul in the PGA Championship, and I'd outdrive him some holes almost 100 yards. But, you know, the old saying is, you drive for show and putt for dough. So that's what happened. He killed me on the green. I never saw a man had the touch or any better touch than Paul Runyon.
Later, Sam Snead sought out Runyon for lessons and credited him with transforming his short game. Snead would go on to win 82 PGA Tour events, only equaled by Tiger Woods. Now, what makes this even more remarkable is what Runyon did next. Rather than chasing more tournament titles, he accepted the head professional position at La Jolla Country Club in 1939. It was in San Diego. And it wasn't a step down, he was following his passion. For the next 26 years, he immersed himself as a golf instructor. Thousands of lessons, thousands of golfers, thousands of problems solved. And in every lesson, he was working towards the same goal, better impact conditions. Now, that's where his short game ideas were refined, not on the practice tee, but in the hands of everyday golfers. And that's why his methods have endured. Now, in a way, my own career connected with his, because in 1992, I stepped into that same role at La Jolla Country Club as the first assistant and primary golf instructor. The same club, the same lesson tee. And Runyon's competitive days were long past, but his presence never left. His ideas, they were still there. A lot of the older members knew him and got lessons from him. And when he returned each year during the Christmas time period, he would actually do a clinic and then play in our annual Beat the Pro event. And I wasn't reading about his method. I was learning from it from the man himself. And that's why this isn't theory for me. It's something I witnessed firsthand, watching him shoot his age with ease. Watching him up close, one thing became very clear. He didn't chip the way anyone else did. He built a system, one few use today, but one that flat out works because it stabilizes every one of the impact conditions. Now, the truth is, modern chipping instruction often makes the shot harder. Today, I see golfers reach out for the sand wedge every time they miss a green, trying to hit low spinning shots that look impressive but are pretty inconsistent. And Runyon believed in something simpler and far more reliable. Control low point, control face angle, control contact, and control the path of the golf club. Let the ball respond. Now, here's the deeper lesson. Runyon was not a long hitter, very short by tour standards. Interestingly, his driving distance mirrors that of the average male amateur today. And yet, he played subpar golf, won professional events, and captured major championships. Why? Because his short game wasted nothing. His impact conditions were elite. Watching him chip was like watching a master craftsman at work. Precise, efficient, and deliberate. And that same precision is actually available to you. In fact, it's the easiest way to lower your score. Now, after his playing career, Runyon became one of the most respected teachers the game has ever known. He taught tour pros and he taught beginners the same way, with clarity, patience, and generosity. He wrote 2 books, The Short Way to Lower Scoring in 1949, and then the Paul Runyon's book for senior golfers in 1963. He contributed to Golf Digest, he spoke at PGA conferences, and he continued teaching well into his 80s, not because of recognition, just for the love of the game. In 1990, he was inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame. When he passed away at 93, he left behind more than trophies and records. He left behind his method, a method that still holds up today. Now, in the next video, I'm going to teach you and demonstrate Paul Runyon's chipping technique. So if you struggle around the greens, I encourage you to give this an honest try. Yes, it does take some practice, just like anything worth doing. But once you understand it, you'll realize something important. You don't need to be a long hitter off the tee to be a great player. You can do it with a great short game, just like Runyon did. So keep an open mind. Let me show you what Paul Runyon discovered, and I'll see you on the next video.
I'm trying to be a salesman. At the same time, I'm an instructor, because I'm not talking to students now, I'm talking to instructors. And I want you to do the best job you can do. And true, I'm an egotist to think that I could sell you all on this idea, but if I can sell 10 or 15% of it, then I've done a good job, because there wasn't any one of the fellows in my period that took up this particular method. I'm eternally grateful too, because it let me win a few more tournaments than I would have won if they had gone to this kind of a method. I'm sure of that.